Similar to reamping, worldizing refers to playing back existing recordings through a speaker or speakers in real-world acoustic situations. Playback is mic'd and recorded to produce new recordings that take on the acoustic characteristics of the space itself. Walter Murch and Orson Welles are credited for founding this technique, as they deployed it as a means to make their film sound more realistic and lifelike. They realized that some of the most attractive aspects of worldizing are due to the way that sonic anomalies happen as sound travels through the atmosphere. Quoting a passage from an interview with Walter Murch, "Worldizing creates the sonic equivalent of depth of field in photography. We can still have the music in the background, but because it's so diffused, you can't find the edges to focus on." Diffusion, reverberation, space, movement. The concept's simple, but the results can be remarkably complex. Although there are some very impressive digital and analog reverbs on the market, I still find that there's something particular about recording physical space. This is probably on account of all the factors that play into recreating the real world and all the atmospheric conditions that affect it. There's seemingly an endless amount of possibilities with worldizing. For starters, I'll focus on a few that we experimented with. We recorded using several stereo miking techniques and placed 2 small near-field monitors on a table in an empty, mid-size, highly reverberant concrete room in the bunker. This first example is rather straightforward. We simply took pre-recorded material and re-recorded it to capture the natural acoustics of the room. This is the original loop. I'll call it the dry portion. The worldized re-recorded version, I'll call the wet portion, goes something like this. When blended together, you get a lush, wide combination of sound. By adjusting the mixer volume for the re-recorded version, you can control the amount of reverb just like using a dry-wet mix knob. Taking this a step further, I'll add an EQ8 and modulate the high-pass filter cutoff to add even more variation. To save a bit on time, I've already done some basic EQing to remove some of the unwanted resonant frequencies. There's something beautiful about the sound of shaping the frequency of reverb over time. It adds another sense of movement and dimension that volume can't provide alone. To shape the combined sound of the dry and wet versions, instantiate a utility device on the dry version and set it to either the left or right channel to make it mono. This will help give a greater sense of spacing and stereo separation between the 2 signals. I created another variation of the same loop, but this time I stretched the timing of the clip by changing the warp settings in the segment BPM as I recorded. In yet another version, I've pitched down the wet layer by 24 semitones, which makes playback sound deep and ominous. I'll continue to explore worldizing in this next tutorial.